Welcome to Mental Flight, where bold ideas take off and untold truths soar beyond the limits of ordinary thinking. And fasten your mind, you're cleared for takeoff. Africa is witnessing a silent yet powerful transformation. The recent 48-hour power shift between Niger and Chad is proof that history does not always announce itself with loud declarations. Sometimes, it takes shape quietly behind closed doors and leaves the world trying to catch up. For decades, African nations were often seen through the lens of foreign influence, dependency, and exploitation. But now there is a fresh wind, blowing across the continent, and Niger and Chad are stepping into the spotlight with bold moves that challenge the old order. Imagine two nations long overshadowed by foreign agendas suddenly finding strength in unity, shaping their own destiny, and refusing to play by outdated rules. That is what makes this 48-hour deal so significant. It is not just about politics or economics. It is about pride, dignity, and the right to decide one's future without interference. For years, leaders from the West believed they could dictate the tempo of African politics. They thought Africa's power structures were predictable, slow, and easily manipulated. But this lightning-fast agreement between Niger and Chad proves otherwise. It reveals a continent that is awake, alert, and ready to seize opportunities. With speed and precision, people often underestimate how much symbolism matters in politics. The fact that two nations could come together and change the balance of power in less than 2 days speaks volumes about Africa's evolving identity. It is a message not only to their citizens who crave sovereignty and justice, but also to the outside world that Africa is no longer waiting for approval or instructions. For the people of Niger and Chad, this deal means more than headlines. It brings a sense of pride and belonging, as if their voices are finally being heard. Ordinary men and women, who for years felt excluded from decisions that shaped their lives, now see leaders acting boldly, decisively, and in the interest of their own people. It is a moment that fuels hope, and hope is something Africa has been denied for too long. If you pause for a moment and think about it, the power of this story lies in its humanity. It is about families who want to live with dignity, young people who dream of a future free from exploitation, and elders who long to see their land respected. The deal is not just an agreement between governments. It is a symbolic handshake between generations, telling them that the struggle for independence is not over, but it is moving forward. Africa's heartbeat is changing, and it is no longer just about survival. It is about ambition, pride, and ownership. Niger and Chad have shown that when nations act with courage, they can send shockwaves across the continent and beyond. This is more than geopolitics. It is a story of resilience, a reminder that Africa's narrative belongs to Africans, and the world must pay attention. In the heart of Africa, something powerful is unfolding. Niger and Chad, two nations often overlooked on the global stage, have shaken the world with a bold 48-hour deal that carries more weight than many realize. This isn't just politics or economics. It's a symbol of a continent refusing to remain under the shadow of foreign powers. For decades, Africa's resources, its people, and its future have been dictated by outsiders who profited while leaving nations struggling to rise. But today, with this deal, Niger and Chad are saying enough is enough. They're signaling to their neighbors and to the world that Africa can stand tall on its own terms. You can almost feel the pride in the streets as ordinary citizens begin to see leaders making moves, not out of fear, but out of vision. It's not about small gains, it's about setting the tone for the future. In Africa, where decisions are made in African capitals, not foreign boardrooms, where alliances are formed through shared struggles, shared cultures, and shared dreams of freedom. The 48 hours may have been short, but the meaning is immense. It's about rewriting a story that for far too long has been told by others. The voices from Niger and Chad are echoing across the continent, sparking conversations and stirring hope. It's a reminder that independence isn't just about waving a flag, it's about owning your destiny. And in these 2 days, these nations showed that Africa's independence isn't a dream of the past. It's a reality being shaped right now. The whispers of a secret agreement between Niger and Chad are shaking the foundations of global power. And it's not hard to see why. For so long, Western influence has stretched deep into Africa, deciding its policies, controlling its resources, and shaping its narrative. But with this bold 48-hour agreement, Niger and Chad are quietly but firmly pushing back. They are drawing a line that says Africa will not forever be treated as a playground for foreign powers. There is something thrilling about the way this deal challenges the old order. Western governments, long used to pulling the strings, are suddenly facing leaders who are unafraid to think differently. The balance of power is shifting, and it feels like the first ripple of a much larger wave. You can almost imagine the unease in the corridors of Western capitals, where strategists are realizing that the days of unchecked control may be slipping away. For everyday Africans, this isn't just politics, it's deeply emotional. It's about dignity, pride, and the right to decide their own future. When Niger and Chad defy the usual pressures and make choices rooted in their people's interests, it sends a powerful message across the continent. Write its own script. It can challenge centuries-old systems of exploitation and emerge stronger. This agreement might be shrouded in secrecy, but its impact is loud and clear. It dares to disrupt the patterns that kept Africa tied to the ambitions of others. It reminds us all that true independence doesn't come with permission. It comes when nations decide for themselves, no matter who tries to hold them back. Years, ordinary citizens across Africa have felt the weight of decisions made far from their homes. Decisions that often served the interests of outsiders rather than their own. But when Niger and Chad came together in a rare show of unity, something shifted in the hearts of the people. It was not just about politics or leaders sitting at a negotiation, not a blip. It was about the spark of hope that ordinary men and women could feel in their daily lives. Suddenly, there was pride in knowing that their nations were standing tall, making choices together, and doing so without waiting for approval from foreign powers. That kind of unity feels personal. A farmer in the countryside or a shopkeeper in the city can now look at the flags of their countries and see more than colors. They see a future shaped by their own people. They feel like their children might grow up in a world where Africa is not dictated to, but instead speaks with one voice, a voice that carries the weight of dignity. And this matters deeply, because for so long, many Africans have wondered whether their sacrifices and struggles would ever be rewarded with true independence. When ordinary citizens see their leaders putting aside differences and embracing cooperation, it builds trust in ways speeches alone never could. It becomes proof that nations once treated as pawns can rise as partners, shaping their destinies with courage. The pride that comes from unity is powerful. It fuels a sense of belonging, a reminder that their stories are worth telling and their future is worth fighting for. This isn't just about Niger or Chad. It's about what happens when people finally start believing again that their nations can stand on their own. If you found this story eye-opening, you can want to stay ahead with more untold truths shaping our world, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. It's the easiest way to stay connected to fresh perspectives that others aren't showing you. Drop a like if you believe Africa's unity deserves global attention, and share your thoughts. In the comments, I'd love to hear what this moment of independence means to you.